If this was a rock concert, that's how you would start. I used to be a rock musician. That's what I thought I was going to do with my life. Now we have our own concept of what we're going to do with our life. You know? Life has a whole other plan for us here. And when I first played here the first time, it was in November of 2010. It was 6 months after these really bizarre things started happening in my life that all connected to a guy named George. I know him as George. Most people know him as George Harrison. He used to play in the Beatles. All I knew about him was that he was one of the Beatles. He was friends with Eric Clapton, and he had something to do with the concert for Bangladesh. And that was it. You know, I knew so little about him, it was actually embarrassing. And I did my first concert here. It was 3 weeks after I started dating this woman who lived in New Hope. And on my third date with her, she asked me what the highlight of my career was, and I said it was when Paul McCartney started a standing ovation for me. And she said, "Did you know that George Harrison used to babysit me when I was a kid?" I said, "No, I didn't know that." She said her mom and dad went to the same yoga ashram as George did in the early 70s. And when her mom and dad split up, her mom and George started to date. A couple of months later, they fell in love. And after that, George moved her and her mom to England, and she grew up in this big castle. And so I was doing a concert here 3 weeks after this happened, after I started going out with this woman. And normally when I would play, I would normally just play my flutes, but I had been writing a lot of songs. I think I'm gonna sing a song for you guys, the same song that I sang 5 years ago. And after I sang this song, when the concert was over, I went back to my apartment because I was living in Langholm, and I fell asleep. And I woke up in the middle of the night, and George was next to me in my room playing guitar. Imagine that, for real. In case you guys were wondering, I didn't drink. I didn't do anything that could have enhanced my mental abilities, you know. My sweet Lord, oh my Lord, oh my Lord, I really wanna see you, I really wanna be with you, I really wanna see you, Lord, but it takes so long, my Lord, my sweet Lord. Oh my Lord, oh my Lord, I really want to know you, I really want to go with you, I really want to show you, Lord, but it takes so long, my Lord, oh my Lord. My sweet Lord, oh my Lord. So I played that song, and a couple hours later, he was on the right side of my bed, playing guitar for me. And then the very next night, I was in a recording studio recording one of the songs that I had wrote with his help. And while I was in the recording studio, this blue light about 3 feet in diameter that kind of looks like this painting that I ended up making later, a few years later. And he hovered over me as this blue light for 6 seconds. And You know, it's one thing when you see a little flash of light for a second, a little sparkle, you know, wow, 6 seconds, it was like 6 seconds of eternity, you know, and it's never stopped. And so I always have this fond memory of playing here, sitting right over here, and putting my whole heart into my music, and all these wonderful things happen. So I'm grateful for this place. And so thank you guys for coming.
So did you say you wrote that song?
No. Thank you very much for the compliment. I really
I'm getting inspired here.
No, George wrote that song.
Yeah.
And he and I wrote about 80 songs together.
You're talking about the physical man, not imagination.
You know what? I'm so glad you brought that up.
Yeah, I was wondering why you're talking about the dead tiger.
Yeah, because this is a good point where you have, that is part of the social consciousness that's been in our society for thousands of years. Just exactly the way you say it. Did you work with the real man, or was it something in your imagination?
Or the real him somehow appearing, a third option.
Okay, now we're talking. Because that's what it is. Okay. In our physical world, we have been taught, in our society, not 1,000 years ago, the Native Americans, because they believed in different things, but in our society, we are taught or misinformed that our imagination is not real. Okay? But if you think about it, every single invention that we have ever had was first imagined by someone. They put it together in their head, saw it in their head, where they were actually tapping into the Invention Museum on the Astro. Okay? But most people think, well, it's just your imagination. And this is how these things were manifested. So one of the things that I talk about tonight is my 151st event that I've done of this kind over the last year and a half. Okay? And I know you guys are all spiritual people, that's why you come to this place. And how many people in the audience have had a near-death experience? Okay, wow, quite a few. Okay. Those of you who have not had a near-death experience, 80% of you tonight are going to have an experience either reconnecting with one of your loved ones on the heavenly side or having an experience with one of the ascended masters or the archangels. Those of you who have had near-death experiences, it's pretty much 100% of you guys will have those experiences. The reason why that is because when you've had that near-death experience, you've been there. You've taken that trip from the physical to the spiritual worlds. And fortunately, you were sent back to finish your life here, so this way you could have more time here with the rest of us. You know? Have you ever noticed that when you drive a place for the first time, it seems like it takes so long to get there? Mm-hmm. But then when you drive there the second time and third time, it feels like it takes half the time, right? Well, in that same way, when a person who's had a near-death experience has taken that trip from the physical world to the heavenly world, okay, and it's easier because they've had a conscious experience with that, okay. So this has been an incredible journey for me because what you guys are going to experience tonight, I didn't know that this was possible for people to experience this. I'll tell you how I found out that it was possible. I would be doing these events promoting some of my books where I was telling stories from my books. And then after telling about 45 minutes of stories, I said, you know what? Let's meditate for a little bit. I'm going to play the flute. You guys close your eyes for 20, 30 minutes. And what I was hoping that people would have an experience with the inner light. You know, maybe have a healing of some sort. You know, I was incredibly surprised and actually shocked when after the first meditation I did, 5 of the people in the audience said, I've just reconnected with my grandmother, my great-grandfather, my best friend from childhood, my mom, my daughter. I'm like, I was trying to hide how surprised I was, you know, because I didn't know that was possible. I had been meditating for 30 years. And I never had one of those experiences at that point, you know. And so that, every time I did the meditation, there was always at least 5 people in the audience who would share that they reconnected with someone that they loved, right? Now, I'm going to tell you a short little story that relates to the fact of the difference between what is real and what is our imagination. And it's kind of a powerful story. A woman came to the event, she shared this story. She said she lived in Boston. And she said she took the same the same bus to work every single day. Now, why did she take that bus? Because she lived here, she worked here. It was a direct line, it took 15 minutes, and she was at work. She didn't take the train because the train took a half hour. So logically, say, you take the bus because it's the most direct route, it's 15 minutes away. So she gets to the bus stop one day, and she's waiting for the bus. And the spirit of her mom appears. Her mom had died 5 years earlier. And her mom said to her in a very strong voice, "Take the train today." Now, she had a choice to trust her logical mind and just take the shortest route, like she had been taking for a couple of years, or to trust her higher intelligence, which manifested through her mom appearing to her, and take the train. So she took the train. And she didn't die in the Boston Marathon bombing, because that was the bus that was bombed.
Listen to your mother.
That's the moral of that story. Always listen to your mom. I should bring you everywhere. You could be part of my show, the whole thing. So this is the whole point. When we tap in and tune in to the guidance that's always being given to us, you know, it not only saves our life, but it can make our life immensely better. Okay. So, without further ado, I'd like you all to close your eyes and let's take a couple of really deep breaths. It's always good to start with some really deep breaths whenever you start your meditation. It helps clear everything out. Now I want you to see yourself standing on a beach. It is a perfect day. Absolutely gorgeous. A couple of puffy clouds overhead. Feel the wind blow through your hair. Feel it blow through your clothing. Off in the distance, straight ahead, is an old ship with large white sails. It's pointed in our direction. This light is emanating from this ship. And it brings joy to your heart just looking at it. Now feel the sand under your feet. And scrunch a little sand in between your big right toe and your second toe. Feel that right in between your toes, just scrunch it a little bit. Now do the same thing with your left foot. All the while, that boat is getting closer and closer. Now walk down to the water, but don't go in the water yet. Feel the moisture in the sand increase. Now balance yourself on your left foot, and with your right big toe, write your name in the water. plant your right foot in the water and feel that sensation on the top of your foot and on the back of your ankle. Now plant your left foot in the water. Feel that sensation. Now the boat is close enough where two old ropes are lowered down the side with wooden steps connecting the two ropes. Start walking towards the boat. Feel the water go up to your knee, to your thigh, to your waist. When you get to the ropes, hold on to them with your hands. Put your feet on the bottom step and just hang there for a little bit. Take a really deep breath. Now slowly start climbing the steps. Now when you get to the top, someone's waiting for you.
Thank you.